Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania. Diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more, this podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the pod, episode 28. Today, I am rocking a middle part. I feel like I always need to say this to merge the listeners and the viewers, but you know that whole like classic era of, oh, if you're like, this was a whole TikTok thing. If you don't have the middle part, like you're old essentially. And I just always was like, but listen, the middle part just isn't me. I never really liked it on myself, but for some reason today I'm like resonating with it. And maybe when I go home, I think I'm going to get a haircut with like the angles to like actually set this in place. But I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit too serious for me. Like it kind of suits me, but I'm also like, I feel like it suits me when I'm put together. But when I'm like just hanging out 90% of my days, like I like the rugged hair where I can just like twist it to either side. You know what I mean? Anyways, minor details. Hello, I hope everyone's doing well again. Today for my gratitude, I am thankful for overall just learning lessons in life. Like if you think about how mundane and boring life would be if there weren't any hardships and then like lessons to learn from them to overcome them, like it would be so boring. Like think about any movie. Any good movie has something like a good, conflict that they're overcoming or a good lesson that they're learning. You know what I mean? So I just am thankful for the concept of like that we're always growing and evolving and adapting and learning and all that good stuff. And it's also a good feeling when you feel like you've learned a new lesson and like you're growing as an individual. At least I think it's a good feeling, hence why I'm passionate about all of this stuff. But I'm really thankful for that. And today I feel like this morning especially and last night, I just have kind of been in more of like a little bit of a reflective mode. And I just felt like it was the perfect time to record a podcast. Now, today is my last Sunday before that I'm leaving my Airbnb. And technically I have to be out of here in 2 days. And I just kind of started to get a little bit emo. I just kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit because I feel like I haven't really, a lot of my episodes are usually kind of something that I've learned that I want to share with you guys. But this kind of is a little bit more of me saying what I need to hear right now and like speaking through what I need to hear in my own lessons that I'm currently learning right now and like reinforcing to myself. So basically like, you guys know, if you've been following me, like nostalgia is my middle name. I always get super emotional. I don't want to say that I'm bad with change, but I feel like I hold on to things too long. Like the phase has closed and I always still feel the need to hold on to it in a sense. And it's usually like it truly is out of place of love and like fondness. Like it's nostalgia, like I'm always like, oh, that was so beautiful. Like I can't believe it's over. Like da 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 da. And I just feel so much. It's almost really hard for me to explain because it's such a feeling to me. It's more of just like I feel so much emotion within me, not necessarily that it's good, bad, sad, happy. It's like I almost can't even label it. Like I just feel emotion and it just makes me really emotional. And like it kind of started to creep up on me last night and just like honestly the past few nights because I'm like, oh my gosh, like these are my last few nights here in this little cute Airbnb that's been perfect for me. And I just feel even attached to the space. And attachment is a whole other episode that I could, record for you guys at some point. But that's a big thing that I've learned where attachment to anything, whether it's attachment to form, people, places, experiences, identities, labels, that's all just extensions of the ego. It's what the ego likes to do to feel more comfortable. And, doing what we can to release attachments is what's really going to be super powerful for us to transcend, elevate into higher frequencies, and connect closer to our higher self and our truest soul that's free of all of these egoic surface level labels. So kind of a side tangent, but I guess I've been doing what I can to kind of work on releasing those attachments, no matter what it is, whether it's a place, a time period in my life. And I think it's also a little bit between like reflecting right now. I feel like it's a mix between me feeling nostalgic about certain things and not wanting to let them go and feeling attached to them. But it's also kind of goes hand in hand, I guess, to me at least, with mourning, like the mourning of things ending. And I think that's very valid. And I don't necessarily feel the need that I need to kind of release that or let that go or stop doing that, because something else I'm thinking of when I said, getting attached to certain time periods, I remember right before I turned 20, and I remember my last day of being 19, I had like a meltdown because I was like, this is my last day of being a teenager ever. Like ever. I think that was also my first time like experiencing a new decade while being conscious of it. You know what I mean? Like from when I went from 9 to 10, like I didn't really understand. I remember like I was stoked that it was double digits, but like it didn't really mean much to me because I didn't really understand. But then going from 19 to 20, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm closing out a whole decade. A whole new one is starting. I will never be in this era again. And that was like kind of really interesting for me to kind of digest. And that's an example of when I kind of felt, I guess, attached to a time period in life. And you may relate whether you feel attached to your high school years or your college years or whatever the case may be, or attached to playing sports with a certain sports team for a certain timeline. But I feel like, yes, it's attachment, but it's also mourning that era of life, which I think is super valid and reasonable. But I do feel like I'm kind of having this realization as the fly. I'm talking you guys through this right now as I'm currently realizing it. I feel like there still is a fine line between attachment and mourning. And, you can still mourn something and simply because of the fact that you're letting it go without feeling super attached to it from a lower vibrational state of being, if that makes sense. So, just the other night, this was last night specifically, it hit me again. I was like, I can't believe I'm really leaving. Like, I'm sad. Like and again, I guess it's more so felt nostalgic more than anything. Like this is my first time doing anything like this. And it went by so fast, which I knew that it freaking would. I just kind of feel like I just started. I feel like I just recorded my first podcast on this couch and now I'm recording one of my final ones here. And it's really crazy to think about. And when I started to get sad about it, I kind of had that awareness where I was like, Liv, no, because, if you guys were following along right before I came here to Hawaii, like I was also an emotional wreck. I was super nostalgic, which that I felt like carried more weight because I was in Utah for a year and a half. And that was the first time I'd ever done anything like this ever. First time ever living alone, traveling somewhere like this completely alone, all by myself for a full 2 months. Like this was so new to me. So I feel like it carried much more weight. But I guess I had that realization like, Liv, you can't feel, so upset about leaving Utah and now you're going back and now you feel so sad about leaving Hawaii. It's kind of like what gives type situation. And there's a quote that I really love that I heard a couple years ago and I think about it often and I really freaking love it. And that's something I would like, talking about tattoos, like that's something that I feel like would be so worth getting tattooed on my body if I ever felt really called to do that. But the quote is attached to nothing, connected to everything. And I just love it beyond words. And that's what I told myself yesterday when I started to get upset. Because I just was kind of like, Liv, if you want to live this lifestyle where you want to, gather as many life experience as you can, you want to meet as many new people as you can, like you can't be so sad and so upset to let go when you're looking for new experiences in the first place. Like that's the point of life, is to be able to dip your toes in so many different waters and experience new things. And with wanting to experience new things means needing to let go of the old ones when the time has come in order to create space for those new experiences. And it kind of hit me, when I told myself that last night, it really helped me just kind of let go and understand, like, you can be completely appreciative of this era, of this time period, of this experience without feeling like you need to be holding on to it with a death grip, you know what I mean? And like never letting it go and feeling like super attached to it. Like be thankful for this experience, be grateful for this time here, and let it be that. Let things lay things to rest in their era, in their time period, and let that go. It's not to say you can't ever come back and experience something again. Will it be the exact same? No, because nothing will ever be the exact same. You only get each moment once, but you can come back and have a new set of experiences if you're feeling really called. But it's kind of like, I guess have been trying to affirm to myself, surrendering and letting go and sinking into the flow of life and understanding that that's the beauty of it all, right? Like life is constantly flowing. It's constantly changing. There's no end destination, no matter how much we think it is, right? There is no tomorrow, only today. Whatever we think is happening tomorrow is only here once today has come. And I think that getting really comfortable with that is, is when will truly understand life, and is when you'll start to, swim with the stream instead of swimming upstream. And I feel like it just will allow you to sink into life without having so much resistance and fighting different things. And it just has honestly really been helping me. And something I have written down here is that you can't hoard life experiences. And I wrote that as I was thinking for a second about this episode, and it honestly is really freaking true. And I feel like I used to try to do that in the past, and even now, like, obviously I'm working through it. There's a butterfly outside my window. Guys, I'm just feeling different. I don't know. I've been feeling so many things today. But anyways, there's our good sign from the uni for today's epi. But yeah, you can't hoard experiences. And with that just means, there's so many good things in life that we want to last forever. Just because we enjoy a moment, we think that means we have to have it last forever. But the thing is, we don't. We don't need to, and we can't do that. And that's the beauty of it. And I think that's what makes life feel so much more precious, is the fact that there's cycles and that things start and end, and there's beginnings and endings, and things die, and it just is part of it. But that's what makes us cherish like each moment tenfold, because if anything's easily accessible, it just loses its value. It always does. So that's just what makes life so much more precious and priceless. And I guess I'm just working on really letting go, when a life experience has like come to its full circle and it's come to its close, let it go, be appreciative of that, and let it turn into a memory, a fond memory, and understand that that's okay and that's its new place. And you have to let that go in order to open yourself up and open up your energy field to new things. And I think it's also another thing that I'm thinking of. I feel like when we want things to last forever, or we want more, right? We're constantly like, this was such a good experience. This was such a good person. More, take. I want it all forever. I don't want it to ever go away. And I feel like that really is a sense of entitlement, right? I think that we aren't owed anything. And it's kind of like when someone does a favor for you, when is enough? It's not like you keep them there and hoard them and, keep taking from them forever. There's a point where it's like, thank you, I appreciate you, and now it's time to go and move forward. And that's kind of how I've been looking at life experiences now lately, where I find myself constantly wanting things to last forever and to keep taking and experiencing it forever. But at some point, it's time to just let it go and understand that it was a privilege for what you were able to experience, and be appreciative for that era, and don't feel a need to take and ask for more. Be at peace with what you experienced, and hold on to that with a fond heart, put it in your fond memory box, and now get ready for a new experience in a whole new era. And again, not to say you can't mourn that loss, but you can also more so turn it into being appreciative for what was, and be thankful for that experience. And I think that will also help, bring you a lot of peace. And I think also looking at life in the sense of cycles also really helps me as well. Because I feel like when we think of, like, for example, just sticking with this whole Hawaii situation, like when I think of it ending, right, to me, that's like, when you think of the word ending, it's like, it just seems like it's over, it died. And we have such a negative connotation with death and with things being over. But it's not a bad thing. It's what's completing that own cycle, that own life cycle of whatever that event was, or whatever that relationship was, or whatever that experience was. And I think that, again, I feel like I'm kind of talking in circles with this whole episode, but again, just finding peace in that, of the cyclical nature of life, and that everything that has a new beginning has an ending at some point, and you have to find peace in that and lay that to rest. And I think that thought process while being here, of understanding like, I started a new cycle while being here, and yes, it's coming to a close, but that's okay, because that means a new cycle is coming. And I think that just the concept of cycles has given me a lot more peace, because it allows me to understand like, oh, well, a new one is beginning, as opposed to feeling like, oh, this is over, this is ending, everything is over. You know what I mean? Like me leaving Hawaii, this isn't the end of everything, like there's definitely going to be so many more experiences and adventures. And if anything, like this has opened up my eyes to so many different things, so many things I want to do. It's making me emotional now, but like being here is completely, sorry, I'm really spitballing this episode because I just feel like it. And that's why I'm just getting some emotion right now. But yeah, just being here is completely opened up my eyes in so many different ways. And I feel like at home and in Utah, like I just was very absorbed in my routine and feeling super strict, which has been years in the making, stemming from, me being super strict with my training and my eating, which led to then me that same discipline, and which I'm thankful for developing that discipline and work ethic, but that same structure and rigidity carried into me, pursuing Livfiit and my business and my career, which again, I do not regret any of it. It still very much was going to be a very big part of my life. It still is a very big part of my life. I'm referring to the structure and rigidity and routine. But I also kind of lost a part of myself and my femininity and the sense of my feminine energy of just flow and play. Sometimes I feel like I lost that sense along the way of having spontaneous adventures and travel, like things I've always loved to do and admired since I was 15. I kind of lost that just because it wasn't really the time for it. And being here has completely re-sparked that and, has completely inspired me to follow those passions that I have of traveling and adventure and exploration and just living life and experiencing life. And it just has reminded me of how much beauty there truly really is to experience in life. And so although this cycle is closing, like this cycle has completely opened up tenfold, a ton of other cycles that are to come. And reminding myself of that and understanding like I can let this go. I can let my grip go and just be thankful for what it was and let this 2-month period be super special and, allow it to sit in its own natural timeline. Like we don't need to force things. We don't need to force them to be longer than they are. Like find beauty in how things are naturally, like it's kind of like the same thing how you wouldn't ever feel the need to change the way someone in your life looks or change anything really about them. It's the same thing. It's like certain things in life we're meant to experience for a lifetime and certain things we're meant to experience for a couple short months. And that's what creates balance of life. And that's what I always say, that's what seamlessly creates the whole. And yeah, I guess I've just really been learning to find peace with that and understand back to that quote, I guess, just to bring this episode full circle. A lot of people, when they don't want to get attached to things, they don't want to get hurt because they don't want to deal with the loss of something, they feel like that means that they need to close themselves off and turn cold and not remain open, close up their heart space. And that's exactly what the opposite of what the quote is saying. It's saying to free yourself from your ego, let go of those attachments, loosen your grip, and be able to let go and surrender to life, but without feeling like you need to close off. Still stay connected, still keep your heart space open, still stay appreciative, still be vulnerable, still be, full of gratitude, still be full of love and light. Keep open, keep yourself open so you could really get the potency and the saturation of these experiences, whether it's a relationship, a traveling time period, a certain, program that you're in, whatever it is. Like stay open so you can fully soak up that full experience in its full entirety and potency, but understand and have the courage to let go of that ledge when the time has come, surrender, and allow yourself to continue flowing with life. I guess I picture myself now like kind of in a river where I'm just kind of flowing down, and at some points, the water stops flowing as fast and you kind of are sitting in some still water for a bit, but eventually you're still going to pass through even though it might feel slower. And sometimes you're going to be rushing down the freaking river, it's going to be going really fast and you're just kind of going to need to hold on for the ride. But just the concept of life being the water and allowing it to just graciously and unapologetically move you through life experiences and whatever timeline is divine and whatever is meant to be. Visualizing life like that has been bringing me more peace, and I feel like that's kind of my new intention going forward in life. Still doing what you can to take action in your present moments and to get to where you want to go, but respect the timeline of life because that's just completely out of your control. And there's going to be change is going to find you. It's inevitable and you might not feel ready for it. You may not want it, but it's happening for a reason and it's going to happen regardless. And so just surrender to that, sink into that, let go of all of your attachments and stay connected so you can fully still experience life to the fullest and let life take you where it's going to take you. So for the affirmation for this episode, I find familiarity and the constant flow and ever-changing nature of life. I find familiarity in the constant flow and ever-changing nature of life. So I feel like this was like a comfort episode for me, honestly, and I hope for you guys as well. This was a short and sweet one, but again, the quote that I have is attached to nothing, connected to everything. Write that down. It brings me so much peace. So I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. I'm sending you guys so much love, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.